welcome to our first review as MBMrc of the Jumper T8SG. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. There's also a link in the description so you can also purchase this radio.
MBM is Marty, Brian, and Matthew. I'm the dad, and my two boys is Matthew and Brian. And today we're going to do a little piece on the Jumper radio, multi-protocol radio. And what's unique about it is, if you don't know what multi-protocol is, it will bind to literally any 2.4 gigahertz system, even down to the little toy quadcopters that you can buy at Walmart and various other places. The Jumper radio is a multi-protocol, as I had mentioned. It's open source, like T8SG and some of the other radios that are out there. And the open source allows you to virtually make the radio do anything you want it to do on any channel you want to do it. It's an awesome concept. I like to talk about pros and cons when I review something, and when we talk about actually reviewing the Jumper radio, we didn't receive these from Jumper or Banggood or by anybody to review them. We bought the radios to check them out ourselves, so that it's not a biased review. What we found with the Jumper radio is the size of it. It's very, very small, and actually kind of like that. And it kind of grows on you. When you're talking about the larger T8SG radio, it's, well, Matthew, you can talk about trimming.
Right, with the T8SG, I don't know if you can see or not, with both thumbs on the sticks there, you can trim your rudder and your throttle all at the same time there. But if I wanted to do the ailerons for the elevator, you can't reach over to trim your model. Well, with the Jumper, I can let go of the throttle there. I can get to the elevator and the ailerons all with one hand there. I don't have to move around and play with the strap and balance everything. So that's probably one of the best.
Yeah, that's a good pro. And you know, when I talk about cons, I like to also put a positive spin on the cons. One of the cons I found with this radio, if you're familiar with running Spectrum or some of the other ones, is that the Spectrum has a template in there to go in and set up elevons or V-tail. And the con with this radio, it doesn't have that template. You have to create it. But putting the positive spin on that con is that I can go in and change exactly what that function is doing. In other words, if I need a ½ inch down on one elevon versus 5/8 up, I can actually go in and dial that particular servo in to do exactly what I want it to do. Where it's more of a challenge to do with the Spectrum, it becomes a mechanical issue. And I'm not degrading Spectrum. I like their format and how the radio works. But what I am saying is that with this radio, it is a little more complex to do that. But it's also, in the same token, you can dial it in and really get it to do what you want to do. And I'm going to just bind a couple receivers here. And we're going to bind to a T8SG S-FHSS 2A, which is a really, really good receiver. And I'm going to talk about range checking here in a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install my bind plug here real quick. And I'm going to get this thing flashing already, because we can do that with this. And we're going to show on the screen, I've got a plane on here called the Homer. And I'm going to go to the model menu, and we're going to go to setup. A couple things we need to note. Right here under TX power, we can actually change and alter this power to be whatever. T8SG radios are one of the most powerful radios out on the industry today. And they transmit at 150 milliwatt or 120 milliwatts. This radio is capable of going clear to 150. If you're in closer range, you can change your milliwatts to any power that you so choose. But this is something you want to check when you're setting up the airplane, is that you get it into the right milliwatt. Now, when we go to bind, we can come over here and we can change our protocol right here. You can see all the various protocols that are in here we want to get to. There it is. That is our protocol. So we're going to go over here to bind, and I'm going to hit that button, and it bound just that fast. Now we're all bound up. Watch the servo. Okay. I'm going to go back to model menu. We're going to go to the mixer. We're going to come down here to rudder. And by the way, if I wanted to reverse the direction of that, I'll go back here. You simply go to where it says rudder. You hit that, and it's reversed. It's that fast, that easy. We'll skate back out of there. We reversed it. We're going to go here where it says simple. We're going to enter, and we're going to scroll over until we get expo and dual rates. We're going to hit enter. We're going to come down, make sure our source is the rudder. Our scale is 100. We can go above that, and we can say that it's going to be 125. And again, when I talk about how we can really dial things in and make things work exactly the way we want, this is what I'm talking about. You can go in here and literally set this any way you want. We're going to put our rudder on switch C. I'm going to make sure it's all the way at the top because that's where I want my high rate to be. I'm going to come down and I'm going to flip that switch. This is going to be our mid-rate position. We started off with it all the way at the top, and it will recognize that. So we come down here, and we're going to change this scale. We were at 125. I'm going to move this down to 65. And at any one point in time, if I want to check and see what that actually looks like in that position, I come here, I hold the enter button, and now that's how far we're throwing. Come up here, and you can see the difference. So we're still set in a mid position. We're going to come down. We're going to go to our low position. You can see it automatically found the switch. And we're going to change this scale to 30. And I'm going to hit enter. And it saves it. If you want to physically hit save, you can. Now our rudder, that's our low rate, mid rate, and high rate. It's that simple. When you're done, you just hit escape, and you're back to your plane. I talked a little bit earlier about, we were going to talk about range check. One of the things I believe is, when you do a range check, it's good to put the radio under load as the manufacturers recommend. You load the radio down, puts it under a little more stress, and you walk away. But really, to me, a range check is how far will it go physically? So what we did is we bound to various different manufacturers' receivers, and we got in the car and we drove down the road to see how far away from them we could get before we lost signal. And what we found is we could get further with the jumper than we could with the original manufacturer's transmitter. So when people ask me, would I use this in an expensive airplane? Sure. Why wouldn't you? When you can get a physical range check that literally goes further than the manufacturer's transmitter, I think that's saying something. So if you can work with the radio and get by the complex open source, which once you get onto it is really not that big of a deal. One of the nice things that we found is it comes with this nice case. It's Matthew showing here. It comes with this nice little case. It comes with this strap. The thing it doesn't come with is the 2-cell LiPo battery, which you have to pick up. And the good thing with it is it lasts a long time in here. In fact, this was used for a couple days. I'm at 7.98 volts. Really, really good setup in my opinion.
All right,
do you have anything to add?
Turnigy 9X is 10 model memory. The Futaba T6J is 10 model memory. And the TGYI6 is 20 model memory. This is unlimited. This is however many planes you want to build or ARFs or whatever.
So in conclusion with the jumper, it's an $80 radio. You can purchase it from Banggood. will replace everything that you see in front of you. And then some. It's a multi-rotor. You can use it on helicopters. An extremely good value for $80. And Matthew, would you be afraid to fly your
Extra 260?
extra 260
No.
on this radio?
No.
Giant scale. I can't say enough good about it. It's an awesome little radio. If you have a lot of airplanes and you want to switch protocols, this is what you need to do. I'm told that they're coming out with a larger version of this. Personally, I'm kind of used to the small one now. It works nice with a neck strap. So in conclusion, it's an awesome little radio. Anything to add?
This is a budget radio too, right? It's a $80, $90 radio.
Right.
But it can only bind to one receiver.
It
can't bind to an orange. It can't bind to a Taranis. Can't bind to a. But
you're left with purchasing nothing but the receiver for that radio.
And it's the same thing as Futaba, Spectrum. This will do it all.
Alrighty, thank you for watching our first video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, the link will be below in case you're interested in this radio also. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe below. Thank you.